All right, good morning. We'll start kind of wading through the log. The aggravated assault's really nothing huge to speak of. Most of those are domestics. People were threatened with a knife. There's a couple of those. Somebody was sprayed with pepper spray. We did have one that was started off as a fight, and that was Friday night. That was around 10:30 p.m. near 74th Street and Mogan Avenue, down southwest. So the call was there's a bunch of people fighting, and then somebody heard a gunshot. Uh, Once the officers got there, they didn't find anything. Talked to some people who had been involved with the fight, but really didn't give a whole lot of details. And a little bit later, there was a 20-year-old man that showed up at the hospital with a gunshot wound to his buttocks. He refused to say what happened. Wasn't worried about it, said he would take care of things on his own, so we don't really know who was all involved in the fight. It sounds like quite a few people there. We don't know what it was over. We don't know who fired the gun, so we'll still work with him, see if he'll be willing to give any more details, but that was the only injury we had. Didn't have any other reports of damage. The assaults are all simple assault domestics. The burglaries, we had a couple of garages at apartment complexes that were entered, a motel room, and then a business was entered. The disorderlies, most of those are trespassings. We had a few other reports on there, but nothing big. The embezzlement were both cars that were loaned out. The family offenses, those ended up basically being reports. A lot of protection order violations, a lot of other reports, but nothing serious. The frauds, a little bit of everything, some credit cards, some checks, disorderly phone calls was in there as well. Larcenies. I didn't have a chance to get to those. I didn't hear of anything big that was taken. The narcotics had some marijuana and meth, no big quantities. The sex offenses were all reports, no arrests on any of them. The simple assaults were just simple assaults, nothing serious from those. Most of those are domestics again. The stolen vehicles, the only one out of that was the one that had the two dogs that were stolen. I didn't get to the other ones. Do you guys want any details on that one? So that was Friday night. It was about 10 o'clock. We had a car that was parked outside a restaurant near 26th Street and Louise Avenue. The car was running, the key was inside it, and there were two dogs inside the vehicle. The owner had checked a few different times and then went back inside. Was only in a short time, and he came out and the car was gone. So we put the information out on social media. We had officers that were checking, and a couple of officers stopped at some different gas stations, and one of them mentioned, this was at 6th and West, but mentioned if they happened to see this red GMC Acadia that had been reported stolen, there were some dogs in it. And then a short time later that actually showed up at that gas station. The clerk recognized that and called police. And that was really the key detail in finding this, because we were able to review the surveillance video from there. Detectives recognized the suspect, and kind of things went from there. So we did have some information that he had the vehicle and he was near Garrettson. So the detectives got hold of the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office, and thankfully they were able to find the car and both dogs. So the dogs were fine. That looks like they had been cared for. The person that had the car doesn't sound like he was involved in stealing it necessarily. We're still investigating that point, but he obviously had received that from somebody else. So he was arrested for receiving stolen property. They did find a syringe that had some meth in it when he was arrested, so he was charged with the drug charges as well. There was a purse that was in the car when it was stolen, and a credit card had been used, so there's going to be some other charges likely. We're still working on trying to figure out who stole the vehicle, but we know of at least one person that used a stolen credit card. So we're still working this. That's not quite done yet, but at this point we've got one arrest that's been made, and there will be more that will be coming.
Was there surveillance video at the first stop, that restaurant at all?
No, there was not any surveillance video at the restaurant.
Where was that gas station at?
The gas station was at 6th Street and West Avenue. And Did you want his name? His last name is Fortney, Fortney. First is Jared, Jared. Middle is Tyrell, Tyrel. And he's 31 from Sioux Falls. And it was just the two charges: receiving stolen property and possession, well, probably possession of controlled substance, possession of paraphernalia. So I guess 3 charges.
Was it like a lot of that?
Just a small amount.
So he was one that was on that gas station surveillance video then?
Yeah, he was the one that showed up at the gas station, and like I said, that surveillance video at that gas station was key into finding the vehicle.
Where was he arrested at?
The sheriff's office, they were the ones, yeah, they arrested him. It was near Garrettson. I don't have the exact address, but they did a fantastic job finding him, and, if it wouldn't have been for their quick response, we might still been looking for him.
Just kind of another big reminder to not leave your keys in your car running.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we talk about not leaving your car running, not leaving keys in their car. Things happen. We realize that, but it really takes a conscious effort to continually remind yourself, make sure the car's locked. If you're going to leave it running, try not to leave the keys in it. If you are going to leave the keys in the car and have it running, try to monitor it. If somebody would have been able to watch this, and somebody walked up to their car, it would have been very easy to prevent. But it just shows how quick these types of crimes happen. They're really a crime of opportunity. We have people that check car doors to see if it's unlocked. They're in 5-10 seconds. They can grab any number of valuables and then leave. If it's running, it takes even less time just to jump in and go. So it's one of the things I think people just need to kind of retrain themselves and realize that we're not a small town anymore. There are some big city problems that come from this. There's people that are looking to capitalize on others' trust, basically. So take those extra steps, make sure that things are locked up, make sure that you're monitoring your car if you're going to leave it running. All of those will help. They're not obviously going to prevent crime, but it's going to help prevent people from becoming a victim of crime. The unattended death, nothing suspicious with that. Vandalisms, we had some cars and houses that were damaged, nothing big, nothing concentrated in one area. There's a couple of weapons violations. One of them I don't have any reports on. The other, we had somebody heard some gunshots. That was Sunday night, about 10 o'clock. They heard it in the area of Oak Street and Lyndale Avenue. We did have an officer that found a shell casing near Lyndale Avenue, Lyndale and Jefferson Avenue. But no reports of any injuries or damage. So just the one was found. That the people had heard several gunshots, but it was reported near Oak and Lyndale, and then the shell casing was found near Lyndale and Jefferson.
So we actually know what day and time was it?
That was Sunday about 10 p.m. That's all that I have, unless you guys have any other questions. Nothing. All right, thank you.